Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on what time of the day you are viewing this presentation. My name is Nathan Sieg, and on behalf of everyone else in our group, we appreciate you taking the time to check out this little video. I love what you do for me, disaster recovery. What is disaster recovery? Disaster recovery is implemented to limit an impact of a disaster, to maintain business continuity, and minimize a loss. Disaster recovery is planning to reduce the likelihood and limiting the impact of disastrous events on critical business processes. This can result in loss of IT infrastructure and components, or just loss of a business being able to function normally. So what is a loss? A loss can be categorized as a component loss in the event of a byproduct disruption, or a loss could also encompass destroyed key systems, networks, or storage of hardware and software as a result of fires or floods. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the realm of Toyota and a utilities company called Entergy. The Japanese auto industry. Japan is known for being one of the world's leaders in international commerce, especially in the automotive industry, and it makes up approximately 9% of the world's economic output. In April of 2016, a string of earthquakes shook the island of Kyushu in southwestern Japan. It had a magnitude of 7.0. This earthquake disrupted services, and many of the local population suffered a loss of power, water, gas. This affected production and manufacturing of many companies in the area as well. In 2011, the area was ravaged by floods. The floods had an effect on companies and industries in this area, not only impacting the automotive industry, but also technology and pharmaceuticals. Impacts and effects. The flooding affected production of Toyota plants, where they had to suspend production at the plants in North America as well. It was stated that there was an interruption in supply chain of some of the Thai-made components. The flooding had led to a shortage of parts needed for those Toyota cars, like Prius, hybrids, and Camrys. One of the major problems with mass production of products, such as automobiles, is the constant supply of parts needed. With businesses increasing dependency on information technology, it is believed to undergo difficult outages, stalled production, and/or system data loss without incurring serious difficulties for its market position. Toyota has implemented a just-in-time manufacturing style. The costs associated with interruptions among production may be extremely high, so Toyota has implemented this business model to reduce cost and added expense of importing raw goods and materials. But not only that, one of the biggest money-saving aspects is that it eliminates waste. Waste can be money, manpower, equipment, and time. One of the methods of eliminating waste is to minimize or limit the amount of raw materials used. So suppliers must ship exactly the right amount at the right time to ensure production is not interrupted. Many suppliers have been affected by the flooding. Many suppliers have been affected with the flooding, like the affiliation between Toyota and Ice and Psyche Company, which makes the aluminum die-cast parts. They had to close their factory, and 1,500 workers had to evacuate due to rising waters. The idled production led to the company to cut its full-year profit forecast when it announced second quarter earnings. Every 1 yen advanced against the dollar cuts Toyota's operating income by 34 billion yen, and as a result, cut Toyota's sales by 92 billion yen and their operating profit by 23 billion yen, This also caused a 22% drop in the Topix Transport Index. Other Japanese automakers impacted included Honda and Nissan. The Tokyo-based Honda had suffered the greatest impact. They were hit the hardest because most of their assembly lines and suppliers were under as much as 3 meters of water. Recovery struggle. Managers of the Toyota Motor Corporation were taking action in the adaptation to this disaster by the construction of a 2-meter-high cordon of sandbags. When the disaster took place, Japanese automakers were planning to revive production, ramp up parts and supplies, and assemble and oversee plants. But the floods have greatly impacted the plan. Toyota was still assessing the impact of the Thai floods on its earnings. 6 months after Japan's earthquakes cut crucial links to the global supply chain, production is now largely back to normal, but the disruption had forced parts buyers and suppliers to rethink tried-and-true models, fraying once tight business relationships and prompting many buyers to get parts from other countries. The nation's industry group believed that it would have been beneficial to wait until December before output resumes in order to have avoided 300,000 drop in car production. Toyota's operating profit may have been reduced by 125 billion yen as plant closures cut production by 250,000 vehicles. The government also had to get involved to try to divert floodwater into the east. After the earthquakes of 2011, Toyota spent a lot of time analyzing its strategy and attempting to isolate vulnerabilities in its production. Toyota has developed a database of available parts and possible shipping options. This database helped not only Toyota, but its suppliers as well. Entergy is a large Gulf Coast energy supplier. Their headquarters is in New Orleans, Louisiana. As a result of Hurricane Katrina, Entergy lost 1,763 distribution poles. 12 out of their 22 substations were flooded. 95 out of 125 miles of transmission lines were affected, and half of the natural gas customer base was lost. This resulted in $1 billion of restoration costs. When the storm hit the coast, many of the employees that worked for Entergy were impacted by the storm as well. It was determined that close to 2,000 of Entergy employees lived and worked in the disaster area. A large part of the success of the utility's company disaster recovery plan resulted in the ability to effectively communicate with their workers. Recovery success. In order to restore power to its customers, Entergy had to ensure the safety of their employees first. Entergy arranged for several tent cities to be built to safely house the thousands of workers. It was determined that the crisis communication plan, aided by web-based communications and the credible communication style of senior leadership, succeeded in boosting the morale of its 14,000 employee base. The company's business continuity team created a website that provided important news, policies, and forms to help the employees stay informed during the disaster. A survey was conducted after Katrina, and it concluded that 83% of employees found the communication channels that were created by Entergy to be very helpful and informative during the disaster. To also aid in business continuity, the company launched its System Command Center in Mississippi. Transmission and distribution command centers were set up in Mississippi, Texas, and Arkansas. By doing this, Entergy was able to maintain business continuity by moving their command centers away from the disaster area. Once these command centers were established, it helped to initiate the next step in Entergy's business continuity and disaster recovery plans. The various command center workers tracked the storm, coordinated preparation efforts, and began recruiting outside restoration help through mutual assistance agreements with other utility companies, and lined up safe staging areas for materials and crews. Entergy crews began working on the most essential services first. The company's disaster recovery plan called for an outside-in strategy, which focused on fixing power outages on the outskirts of an area before moving in. Hospitals, police departments, fire departments, and sewer and water utilities were among the first facilities to be restored. 12 days after the disaster, crews were already able to restore electricity to almost 750,000 customers. By mid-September, over two-thirds of Entergy customers had their power restored. Also, 20 out of 25 industrial customers impacted by the storm had their service restored. Entergy won one of the public relations industry's top annual honors in 2006. The company also won the Crisis Communications Award in 2005 due to their excellent response plan and recovery efforts. Areas of improvement. Due to the high volume of outages and repairs, Entergy could not afford to fix all of the damages. Entergy faced millions of dollars in repair costs. They were forced to file bankruptcy, but were eventually able to receive some government funding and survive the financial impacts from the disaster. The City Council of New Orleans approved a $382.1 million storm recovery cost, and about half of which Entergy customers have either paid or continue to pay. Entergy itself created a $75 million reserve fund of their own to alleviate some of the financial burden from future disasters. In order to make some infrastructure upgrades, Entergy stopped using wooden utility poles and now use stronger metal poles that can withstand up to 150 mile per hour winds. In addition, the utility company has performed a post-Katrina study to look at ways to improve transmission lines, substations, and other important equipment.